Chapter 3. Distance. Luo Yanian slowly turned around, only to see a figure in a black hoodie jump down from the wall. The slender, well-proportioned figure walked from the other end of the alley, with a light and graceful stride, eyes fixed intently on him. The hood and mask covered the face completely. Tu He, leaning on Luo Yinyan's side, fumbled with his chin and said, I really don't get why kids these days like wrapping themselves up like dumplings in the middle of summer. Luo Yanian met the exposed peach blossom eyes of the person opposite, feeling utterly annoyed. Just by the look in his eyes, it was clear he wasn't a simple character, confident, roguish, and arrogantly determined. The gaze of the person remained unyielding, seemingly determined to bore holes into Luo Yanian. Without flinching, Luo Yanian met the fiery gaze and coldly said, Keep staring, and I'll dig out your eyeballs to feed the dogs. At this moment, the few cannon fodder lying on the ground, possibly feeling they might become grilled meat if they continued lying down, began to crawl up and lean against the southern wall, nursing their wounds, grimacing in pain yet deriving some mental satisfaction. Yu cough. Lu Jie, who was sprawled on the ground, no longer had the strength to speak. He glanced at the boy in black, coughed dryly, and then collapsed into a heap. The boy in black glanced at Lu Jie, seemingly without any intention of helping, and laughed. Brother, no need to get so worked up. Look at him. He probably can't fight you anymore, he said, pointing at himself. How about me? Luo Yanian scrutinized him. Though he was slightly shorter, other aspects compensated for this. His high, straight nose held up the mask perfectly, looking exquisite and three-dimensional. Tu He waved his hand disdainfully to disperse the air. Ugh, what a terrible breath. I'm not interested in fighting. Just as Luo Yanian was about to leave, he sensed the boy in black rushing towards him from the corner of his eye. Luo Yanian intercepted a cross punch, glaring at him. What are you doing? The boy in black smiled. Nothing much, just want to spar with you and make up for a loss. Make up for a loss? Lu Jie brought people to cause trouble, and now wants to make up for it with me? Luo Yanian swiped a cross punch towards the boy in black's face but missed. The boy in black stepped back, maintaining a distance of one body length. Brother, to be honest, you look familiar. Tu He couldn't hold back his laughter. Ha ha ha, buddy, can't you think of a better excuse? Even if my old Luo here is as handsome as Panin, you can't just hit on him like that. Your old Luo? Or is he yours? The boy in black raised his eyebrows, lunging straight at Tu He. Luo Yanian sensed something was wrong. Although Tu He was sharp-tongued, his fighting skills left much to be desired.
Tu He, ah.
Damn! He closed his eyes, bracing for the impending pain. At the critical moment, Luo Yanian turned and stepped forward, blocking the attack from the boy in black with a backhand, pushing him away sternly. Kid, you want to spar? Don't cry later. Luo Yanian rolled up his sleeves and shoved his baton into his back pocket. What a stubborn pest, refusing to give up until he achieved his goal, just like Lu Jie. The boy in black tilted his head and smiled. I'll be gentle. He was already prepared. Tu He cautiously whispered in Luo Yinyan's ear. You've already fought 5. Do you still have the energy to take on a fully charged boss? Luo Yanian, no. You go? Tu He answered without hesitation, good luck. If you win, I'll treat you to barbecue. He then backed away, leaning against the southern wall to watch the show, dragging Lu Jie, who was lying in the middle of the road, over. Lu Jie, already in pain and annoyed, kicked at Tu He. What are you doing? Hey, don't be ungrateful. I'm kindly dragging you to the shade. If you don't thank me and keep glaring at me, I'll drag you back. Tu He lightly slapped Lu Jie's face, merely scratching an itch.
Lu Jie.
Meanwhile, Luo Yanian paused his movements, rushing towards the boy in black and throwing a punch towards his face. Just when Luo Yanian thought the other person would take the punch head-on, he swiftly dodged, moving beside him. Sensing the danger, Luo Yanian turned around, planting his heel on the corner of the wall, executing a roundhouse kick that was blocked by the boy in black's elbow. The boy in black transitioned from defense to offense, launching a fierce attack on Luo Yanian. a punch flying towards Luo Yinyan's face, which he stopped a few centimeters away with his palm. Although shorter in stature, the boy in black's momentum was equally formidable, targeting the unprotected areas like the armpits and shoulders. After several rounds, Luo Yannian couldn't even touch the boy in black's clothes, gradually depleting his stamina and slowing his reactions, making Tu He break into a cold sweat for him. The boy in black aimed for Luo Yinyan's waist, and Luo Yannian seemed ready to take the hit. As everyone thought Luo Yannian was about to be sent flying, the boy in black turned his punch into a palm, pulling Luo Yinyan's slender waist and pressing him against the southern wall, in an incredibly ambiguous posture. Click! Luo Yannian heard a crisp cracking sound. The boy in black squinted, observing up close. Luo Yinyan's bangs almost covered his eyes, his long, narrow eyes slightly upturned, lips swollen, with a black mole near his cheekbone. His pale skin contrasted with the bruises on his face, dried blood on his lips, like a grim reaper crawling out of hell. Lu Jie, obviously unhappy with the outcome, propped himself up only to be kicked back by Tu He, groaning, "That's it?" Tu He disdainfully pushed him away. "Adults' business. Kids stay out." Luo Yannian didn't feel the expected pain in his waist, but found himself pressed against the wall by a kid half a head shorter. He reached up and pulled off the boy's hood and mask, revealing his true face. The boy's peach blossom eyes, filled with affection, gazed at him. Though he looked young, it was easy to predict he'd be a heartbreaker in the future. His features were perfectly proportioned, making him incredibly striking. Luo Yannian thought, "Is it him?" The real person was even more refined and deep. What's his name again? And what did he ask? Looking at this familiar yet annoying face, Luo Yinyan's gaze involuntarily moved down, past the exposed neck with a noticeable red mole on the left of the Adam's apple, before moving away quickly. He lifted his leg, aiming a knee strike, but the boy in black quickly stepped back, avoiding the attack. The boy in black hopped to the side, covering his groin. "Brother, why are you so ruthless? If I hadn't dodged, what would I do with the rest of my life?" "Stay away from me." Luo Yannian dusted off his hands. "Your future has nothing to do with me." Tu He, seeing the disguise fall away, yelled from afar, "Oh my! You're Chi Haowen." Lu Jie, lying on the side, confused, "Who won?" Chi Haowen didn't deny it, turning and bowing generously, "Good eye. It's me. How do you know all kinds of strange people?" Luo Yannian stood at Tu He's feet, scrutinizing this so-called one. Talking about gossip, Tu He perked up, "Chi Haowen, the famous and ridiculously handsome guy from 10th High." He paused. "Don't you know him? He's well known. You've dug into Lu Jie's background thoroughly. Can't you check out the people around him?" 10th High, located in a remote area, was a regular high school, naturally incomparable to First High, and on par with Fourth High. Meeting Luo Yinyan's, "Do I need to know everyone?" Look, Tu He remembered his bookworm friend who probably knew fewer than 3 people in his class. Tu He continued his enthusiastic explanation. "This guy, though young, is ruthless and fights. He once beat someone so badly they dragged him to the principal's office, but he only sat there for 2 periods and paid medical bills, making the beaten party apologize." Luo Yannian was stunned. The beaten apologized to the beater? Yeah, 10th High even built a police station at the gate because of him. He fought so often. He drove away several homeroom teachers. Now, only the fiercest vice principal can handle him. Lu Jie chimed in. Luo Yannian clapped his hands on his waist as if it was dirty. "Didn't know, couldn't tell. It said you were once a dragon in the clouds, now turned snake in the grass." Chi Haowen walked over with crossed arms. "Your reputation of sleeping through class and ignoring messages has reached 10th High. Not knowing about me is normal. I don't care about these things." Luo Yannian didn't argue, as it was true. He picked up the books scattered on the ground, shoved them into his bag, and told Tu He, "There's an exam tomorrow. If you're not leaving, I am." "Oh right." Tu He, forgetting about the exam, jumped onto the back seat as Luo Yannian pedaled away. "Fought, settled scores, don't bother me again." Luo Yannian handed his baton to Chi Haowen without looking back and drove away. Chi Haowen looked at the baton in his hand, noticing it was no longer smooth, with a dent in the middle, losing its original function. He stared at the object and then at the receding figure in the distance, saying, "The senior high school entrance exam is tomorrow, with a day off for freshmen. He said he has an exam. Is it someone else's or his? If it's his, then it's interesting." He chuckled, ignoring Lu Jie beckoning him from the ground. "You have the transfer exam tomorrow, don't you? What's so strange about it? And hey, can't you do something about me?" Lu Jie, filled with resentment, looked at Chi Haowen, devoid of any hope. Piske. I thought he looked familiar, but I've never seen him. Let's see if we meet tomorrow. If we do, it won't hurt to ask for his contact info. Chi Haowen muttered to himself, ignoring Lu Jie, until Lu Jie was helped up by the 4 thugs he hired. Chapter 4. New Wounds. The next day at 5 o'clock, the stars turned as the dawn approached, revealing the fish belly white in the east. Luo Yannian headed to the exam venue as scheduled, without any disguise, swaggering towards the high school entrance exam site. Without Tu He to send him, he had to walk, which wasn't far, but his back was drenched by the time he arrived. Within a 100-meter radius of the first high school gate, a sea of hopeful students and parents crowded tightly. Even bicycles had a hard time getting through. Luo Yannian suddenly felt relieved he hadn't agreed to let Tu He send him. The result would have been the same. Luo Yannian disliked physical contact with others. Squeezing through the crowd made him anxious, frowning as he politely said, "Excuse me." He maneuvered through the gaps without touching anyone. At the gate, surrounded by iron railings, early arriving parents stood outside, watching their children enter the exam hall. The lush sycamore trees provided ample shade, but couldn't block the overwhelming summer heat. As Luo Yannian stepped forward to enter, a familiar security guard stopped him. "Hey, you just need to send them off. What are you doing going inside? Go on, outside the fence." Under his calm expression, Luo Yannian was puzzled, thinking, "Do I really not look like a candidate?" Seeing no reaction, the security guard waved his chubby hand in front of Luo Yannian's face. Luo Yannian calmly unfolded his exam admission ticket in front of him. The guard froze for a second. Seeing the name on the ticket, his pupils dilated. "Luo Luo? Luo." Sensing trouble, Luo Yannian quickly put a finger to his lips, signaling the guard to keep quiet. The guard, understanding, casually adjusted his belt, looked up at the sycamore leaves, and waved Luo Yannian in. Luo Yannian's name was well known in high school circles and even in junior high, as this batch of high school entrance examinees was only a year younger. But while his exploits were famous, no one knew what he looked like. Luo Yannian entered just before another significant figure arrived, as always wearing a black mask and half-zipped uniform, exuding a roguish charm, causing many girls to stop and stare. Inside the school, Luo Yannian was more than familiar. He was an added candidate, so naturally, his seat was the last one in the last class, a fact he didn't need the large exam hall sign at the entrance to tell him. He headed upstairs, found his exam room, and waited for the proctor to open the door. Leaning on the railing, he gazed at the scene through a window. Morning light, blue sky, white doves, the fence, corridors, and classrooms, all forming a beautiful picture. Old Luo? Luo Yannian turned around, seeing Tu He behind him, his fair face filled with awkwardness and guilt. "What are you doing here?" "I'm also here for the exam. My mom moved early, so she transferred me too. She only told me this morning." Tu He scratched his head. "You're not mad, are you?" "No." Luo Yannian shook his head. "It's nothing." Tu He pointed down the corridor. "My exam room is up ahead. Good luck." Luo Yannian nodded, then heard a click behind him. He turned to see Nan Rongqi coming up the stairs, phone in hand, snapping a photo. He wondered why she was there. Wasn't she a freshman? Was she also taking the high school entrance exam? Never mind. It's not his place to judge. Admiring the photo on her phone, even Luo Yannian's back was in it. His thin figure, backlit, with warm light shining through his hair, formed a beautiful contrast with the vibrant students outside, making for a stunning picture. Luo Yannian leaned back against the railing, closing his eyes, waiting for the proctor to open the door. Nan Rongqi, not disturbing him, exited the stairwell. Hearing the proctor's voice and Nan Rongqi's departure, Luo Yanian opened his eyes, grabbed his bag, passed the metal detector scan, and found his seat. The desk tag, bearing his black and white photo, showed the youthful vigor and promise of his high school entrance. A hint of disdain and a sneer flashed in his eyes. The past is the past. Dwelling on it is for poets, not him. Nan Rongqi sat diagonally across from him. Luo Yanian spotted a familiar figure entering, then saw a well-known face. Is this not over? Chi Haowen, holding his admission ticket, looked for his seat and sat in front of Luo Yanian, barely a meter away, a slight turn of his head revealing everything. Isn't he a freshman? Is he also taking the high school entrance exam? Luo Yanian felt a headache, speechless. Though not knowing much about Chi Haowen, based on their previous encounters, Luo Yanian knew if Chi realized his rival was in the same exam room, he'd shout it out for the world to know. Feeling helpless, Luo Yanian kept his head down, staring at the floor, fearing Chi Haowen's slightest glance. Fortunately, Chi Haowen remained quiet throughout the Chinese exam, not turning his head once. If Luo Yanian didn't know him, he'd think Chi was a model student. After the exam, Luo Yanian went to his usual spot to enjoy the view. Tired, he sat down, leaning against the railing, surrounded by passing students, his cold aura keeping everyone at bay. He heard Chi Haowen's voice approaching, quickly pulling out a spare mask and hiding in a corner. On the phone, Chi Haowen said, "Hey, brother Jia, I finished late. Where are we eating today?" Chi Haowen followed the crowd downstairs, noticing Luo Yinyan's pendant, a smooth agate reflecting in the glass, dazzling. Oh, is he here too? Could it be? He subtly smiled and left. Luo Yanian, seeing Chi Haowen leave, exhaled and pulled down his mask, feeling resigned, thinking, I knew I should have checked the almanac. Chi Haowen stopped at the corner downstairs, smiling under his mask, staring at the ceiling. I've been looking for you for 10 years. I can't rush. Ding, you have 4 new messages. Luo Yanian looked at his phone. It was Yuan. Yuan, how's the exam? Is everything going smoothly? Everything is fine. Don't worry, I won't come back for lunch. Lao Tu invited me out. Eat well. Tu he, hurry Luo, I'm at the school gate. Come out. Lunch is on me. Aren't they all taking exams? How did he get there so fast? Got it. Luo Yanian turned off his phone, sighing, thinking, what more could I want? I already have everything I need. At the gate, outside the fence, Tu he, squeezed among a group of aunties, struggled to breathe, looking like a little old man. Seeing Luo Yanian, he waved excitedly, shouting, Here! Over here! Hey, where are you looking? Your brother's here. Can you move faster? Luo Yanian saw him immediately, walking over leisurely. Why the shouting? In this spot, it's hard not to see you. Tu he awkwardly scratched his head, embarrassed. I was on the edge, but got pushed here. Come on, hop over, let's eat. Luo Yanian ignored him, heading to the side exit. Climbing over the fence was too embarrassing. Duan Shi and Nan Rongqi were nearby. Nan Rongqi's mother unabashedly remarked, Look at that boy. When he arrived, I thought he was handsome. Look at him, how handsome. Nan's mother pointed at Luo Yinyan's departing back. Duan Shi and Nan Rongqi froze, gasping. Duan Shi's mouth twitched, asking, Are you sure you didn't mistake him? Of course it's him. Nan Rongqi weakly said, You are my real mom. Such unique taste in people. In the summer, even the air felt sticky. Luo Yanian stood on the empty, wind-swept street, looking at the sky, murmuring, Maybe it's time to grow up. What type of computer are you looking for? Tu Yang waved him off, indicating he wanted to look alone. I'll take these 2. Please deliver them to this address. Looking at the black and white computers, he was satisfied. He'd give the white one to the kid. The silver-white color suited him. The sales clerk's eyes lit up, sensing a big spender. Thank you, sir. Please come again. Something about that sounded off, but Tu Yang nodded and left.